The takeover. My wife and I have been together for about 9 years, and married for 4, and we have a 2-year-old son. My wife just asked me if I was happy and she said she was not and wanted a divorce. I asked what's wrong and she said everything. I am devastated. We have never fought except once just before being married. She is a very passive person. She does not want to go to counseling and had told me she doesn't love me in that way anymore, only as a brother. I have written her letters, tried to talk to her, but she doesn't want to try at all. She met someone on World of Warcraft and has been having an online affair for a few months. Moved to Facebook and their affair is voice not text, maybe even video. Guy lives in another country. We signed a separation agreement as I wanted one if she is leaving. With regards to my son, we have more debt than asset. I can keep the house but am taking all the debt. She does not want to give up custody, so we split custody. She is now making arrangements to go to the other country to meet the guy. We are still talking but she says it's too late. I do not want to give up. I love her eternally and am willing to work through the affair, if I can. After taking a week apart, I wrote a 15-word letter expressing my feelings and talked about our issues and good times. Biggest issues are communication and lack of doing what she wanted and together activities. I am the main breadwinner and have been blinded by trying to make more money by online business. I canceled all my online business to focus on our marriage. I have not been doing the activities she wanted to do, and she says she'd been unhappy before my son was born, but she never brought these unhappy feelings up. I have tried reason and logic, telling her that I will give up all my activities to focus on her and child. How can I save my marriage? How can I get her to stop the affair? She just won't try and says I will find someone else. I feel that since she has already had someone else, this is why she is being so heartless. She has moved out, but we are sharing my son. I have also made it clear the son will not be able to leave the country. We are still talking barely though. When I spoke to her today, she told me that no matter what I say, she will not change her mind, and that when I talk about our relationship, it makes her not want to talk to me. She has no friends, well, one sort of, who left her fiancé 6 months before marrying with 2 kids for a guy who lives in his parents' basement. I spoke to mother today and made sure she knew what my wife is doing and that I want to work through this. Unfortunately, she is a very internal person, loner, almost no friends. Father that was a drug addict, so he and her mom had split up and he only comes by a few times a year to drop off guilt money. Not close to her siblings at all, and mother-daughter relationship is more like a friendship. Worst part is mother just had an online affair in past 6 months also, but she got back with her partner and worked it out. Blows my mind. Mother has one, and then my wife. She just applied for her passport. She is already moved out. Computer was part of the separation agreement. Basically, she is leaving with only the laptop. I don't think she is moving as she doesn't want to give up custody of our son. We each went joint custody. I am in Canada and the affair guy is in North Carolina. I have a name and phone number, that's it. And who knows if it's really his real name, as it's his Facebook name. Some of my friends think she's gone, no chance of coming back for years. She is going to meet this guy in NC as she said she is not happy and put her happiness aside for a long time. She said her happiness has to come first. She said she is not moving there. She says she is not happy and doesn't love me anymore. I told her that our child should come first. My comment, of course, she's saying all these things and you know why. Because she knows that if things don't work out with the OM, that she has good, old dependable pylon to come back to. In other words, she has nothing to fear. If it is true that she is emotionally done with you, then she shouldn't mind that you go ahead and file for divorce. You are not a weak man, but you are acting like one. Remember that women have never, ever been attracted to men they perceive as weak. Your wife is no exception. If you expect to be treated like a consolation prize, then you certainly will be. OP responds, I don't think I can file for divorce here in Ontario as I have no actual proof of the affair. As she speaks to him using data, and she did call him from here, but I wasn't here, so it's not like I have an actual conversation. I spoke to my wife yesterday and she told me she is looking at apartments here. So, she is planning to stay here, but she is still planning to go see the NC guy. I asked her if she was still going to the US and she said I don't know. Here's my dilemma. One of the big issues were that we didn't do enough things together as a couple. She is still willing to spend time with me as she wants to see her son. She likes outdoor things like walks, hiking, biking, etc. If I start doing these things with her, perhaps this might earn me some love points and win her back. Or do I cut all contact and only speak to her when we exchange our son? My issue with this is that she is still speaking to the other guy, and if I do nothing, he will keep enticing her, while if I do something, perhaps she will realize that she can have a real life instead of a virtual one. 1 year of separation to get a divorce. Adultery or physical or mental cruelty are faster. So, what do I do? Try to do things with her or leave her alone? I used to play World of Warcraft but didn't have time for it anymore. Today I called her and asked if we could go for a walk. At first, she was hesitant, but said okay when I was bringing her laptop. I know I could have kept it or put spyware on it, but technically we are now separated and it would not make a difference. I tried not to talk about the relationship. I did ask her one question though. Why? She says why when I asked to tell her that I would still like to spend time with her or try to do things with her. thinking I might win her back by doing real outdoor things she enjoys. She told me she was asking why I wanted to do these things as this would prolong the suffering. I was surprised when her cell phone rang. She did not have a cell, she just bought this on a pay-as-you-go as I asked her how she would pay for it. I could tell by the smile on her face when she was talking that she was talking to him. I asked her if this was so and she said yes. I heard her talking about our son to this guy. I asked her if he knew she was married and has a child and she said yes. I am so screwed, I feel helpless and worthless. I asked her about the apartment she was going to see and how she planned to pay for it. She wants to get a job but she plans to go to welfare. I am so screwed financially. I have a house with no equity and $45,000 debt. I am making about $3,000 a month but my expenses are $2,000. Child support is $635 plus possible alimony leaves me broke. We agreed on $400 for child support and no alimony, but when she goes to welfare they will be coming after me for full amount. I live in Ontario, no fault divorce, so my wife can have an affair, and because she has a child I have to pay. It's so unfair. Even the fact that we will each have the child for a week I still have to pay because she doesn't have a job or education. I have an app with a lawyer but that's still 12 days away. If I had cash, I could probably get a lawyer faster, but I went to one in Fort Kelvin retainer. Called legal aid but don't qualify because I make too much. I have about $150 in the bank. I am at my rope's end. When we met for most of our marriage, we also played World of Warcraft together. But after the child came in with work, I just didn't have time for it. I realize now that this is and was my wife's only source of contact with the outside world, as she has withdrawn from all her friends and even family. Well, my wife called me today and she is sick and asked me if I could take care of my son. When I had him last week, he was sick and but I didn't call my wife. I wasn't sure if I should say no to let her see how hard it is to take care of a child on your own when you are sick, but I caved and went and picked up my son. I thought it would be in the best interest for my son to make sure he was being properly cared for. Did I do the right thing? Update. Well, it's been just over a month since my wife said that she thinks she wants a divorce, that she doesn't love me anymore, and I found out about the She has moved out to her grandmother's. I found it strange that she left her wedding bands, engagement ring and all her jewelry that I have bought her over the years. She also left her wedding dress. I have been trying to give my wife some space and do not call her unless it's her week with my son so I can speak to him. I tried again to talk to her a few days ago and asked if she was still talking to the She didn't answer. I asked her, don't you have any guilt, and that she is not showing any emotion. She said that she has emotion and basically backed away. So, I stopped as I do not want to push her farther away. But it had been a while since we talked, so I wanted to see if she has cooled off a bit. She should soon have her passport. This week I have my son, and it's great to have him with me. But I feel like I am in limbo. I really want to work things out with my wife but have been making plans to move forward. I see the lawyer tomorrow. This is killing me. I just can't envision a life without her. It's killing me that she won't even try. I am exercising and going for walks to help deal with the stress and have cut coffee out and switched to chamomile tea, but it's still not enough. My wife is a very passive person and non-confrontational. She would rather sit on her feelings to avoid confrontation. I have considered telling her that I don't need this in my life and that she is free to go, but I really think this will just close the door, and I am trying to keep the door open. I have told her how much this is hurting me and our families and how complicated this will make our child's life. I am thinking, if I just give her space, will she come back to me? Or don't I have to do something more? What sign would tell me that she is willing to try and work to save our marriage? Last night my dog passed away in my lap. It crushed me. I buried him last night. He at least was my only companion now at home and loved me unconditionally. It's very hard now at home all alone. I took my son and wife to where he was buried and said a few words and a goodbye, and she didn't even shed a tear. I tried again. My wife agreed to spend some time with me and my son. I asked her if she was willing to work on our marriage and she said no. I saw her texting on her new phone to the I told her that she can't work on our relationship while she is still in another. I again asked her if she wanted to go to marriage counseling and she said no. I asked her why and she said she doesn't want to. That's it. I am at my breaking point. When I got home, I called her and told her that I thought about this for a long time and I don't need this in my life. I deserve someone who doesn't lie, cheat, and can focus on me, and that I am moving on. She said okay. When I got home, I called her and told her that I thought about this for a long time and I don't need this in my life. I deserve someone who doesn't lie, cheat, and can focus on me, and that I am moving on. I feel like I made the wrong decision telling her this. An update. I have stopped calling her, and last week she called me asking to go do something this past Sat. I asked her why and she told me I don't know. I explained to her that it's taken me this long to start functioning again. I went back to work, etc. I told her that I don't need this in my life and that she has to make a decision what she wants. She said fine and that we don't have to do anything. But this was the first time that she called me and asked to spend time with me. I let things sit until Sat, and then I called her and she asked me to go out for a coffee later this week. Ma and I went for a coffee and we talked. I told her that I still have feelings for her, but I can't live like this. I told her what I wanted for her to move back in, end her relationship, and for us to go to counseling. Then I asked her what she wanted and she again says I don't know. I told her that this cannot continue and I gave her until the 19th to make up her mind what she wants to do. It's been 2 months now. 2 months is a long time to go through this hell. I said after this I don't want to see or speak to her again unless it's related to our son or financial, and that I don't want to be her friend. I can't go from husband to friend, but we can have a friendly conversation if it's about my son. Also, I went out on a date this weekend. Not really a date, but just hanging out with someone female other than my wife. I was wondering if I should have told my wife. I am almost to the point of no return, but still love my wife and will give it this final effort. A week later, while something unbelievable and unexpected happened today, I spoke to my wife and she said that she wants to work on our relationship and that she misses me. We are going out in a few days to discuss it more. I am somewhat skeptical, but at least it's a step in the right direction. When we first met years ago, we both used to play the As before we got married. She just started playing in last 6 months or so when I was home with my son or if he was sleeping. My wife and I are going to go for a walk tomorrow night and coffee later to talk about things. We are also supposed to go for dinner on Sat night. Since I will be away the next week, I was thinking of asking her to move back in with me if she is willing, as it would be easier to talk and work on things if we are in the same house. I don't expect things to be intimate for a while, but maybe just holding hands and spending some time together might does us some good. The revelation of my wife's emotional affair, her half-hearted attempts at reconciliation, they all seem fake now. The woman who once stood by my side, who shared my dreams and my bed, has become a stranger, her actions chipping away at the foundation of our marriage until there was nothing left but rubble. I realize now that her requests to spend time together, her indecision, were nothing more than a safety net, a backup plan in case her new adventure fell through. Ever since that night she confessed to wanting a divorce, it's like I've been living in a fog of confusion, hurt, and disbelief. Every day, I wake up hoping it's all just a bad dream, that my wife will walk through that door and tell me she's made a mistake, that she loves me, that we can fix whatever's broken. But deep down, I know that's just wishful thinking. I've been wrestling with this whole thing, trying to make sense of it all. How did we get here? 9 years together, 4 years of marriage, and a beautiful son. All of it feels like it's slipping through my fingers like sand. And for what? An online affair with some guy she's never even met in person. The separation agreement sits on the kitchen table, a stark reminder of the reality I'm facing. I'm keeping the house, but with it, the mountain of debt we've accumulated over the years. She doesn't want to give up custody, and honestly, I don't either. Our son needs both of us, even if we can't be together as a couple. I've tried everything to get through to her. Letters, talks, trying to be more present, more involved with the kids. But it's like talking to a wall. She's so distant, so closed off. It's like she's already left, not just the house, but the life we built together. I've been the main breadwinner, working hard to provide for our family. I thought I was doing the right thing, focusing on our future. But maybe I lost sight of what was really important. Maybe I wasn't there for her in the ways she needed. These thoughts haunt me, but then I remember her coldness, her refusal to try counseling, her secret conversations with him. It's like a punch to the gut every time. So, here I am, at a crossroads. Do I keep fighting for a marriage that only one of us wants to save? Do I keep holding on to hope that she'll change her mind, that she'll see what she's losing? No, I can't do that to myself. I can't keep living in this limbo, hoping for a miracle. I have to think about my son, about giving him a stable, happy life, even if it's not the life I envisioned for us. I decide to take control of the situation. I'm not going to be a doormat, waiting for her to decide whether she's done with me or not. I'll file for divorce. It's not what I want, but it's what needs to happen. I need to show my son that while it's important to fight for what you love, it's also important to know when to let go. It's going to be tough, no doubt about it. The finances, the custody arrangements, the sheer emotional toll of it all. But I'm ready to face it head on. I'm ready to start rebuilding my life, for me and for my son. As for her, I hope she finds what she's looking for. I hope this guy is everything she's hoping he'll be. But more than that, I hope one day she realizes what she gave up and learns from it. I pick up my son and hold him close, feeling his warmth and innocence. He's my priority now, my focus. Together, we'll get through this. We'll build a new life, just the two of us. And maybe, just maybe, we'll be better off for it in the end. My comment, just cut her off. You are better off without her, she is a lost cause. Story 2. I'm a garbage wife. And I know it. I'm stuck in the past. I'm insecure. I struggle with self-worth. I live in fear that people are going to hurt me. I've been with my now hubby for just a few years and he's tired of me feeling like I'm not enough. Right now, he's not speaking to me and that makes my heart struggle even more. Everyone before him treated me that way but he never has. So, when I start to feel down, how can I successfully lift myself up without running to him for reassurance? I know it has to be exhausting but sometimes I just long for a positive. even if I just had won the day before. I'm not saying every day or even every week, but I need this to become a never. This guy is by far the greatest man in the world, and the feelings I have run deep within me, they have nothing to do with him. Now just when I'm feeling down and I'm met with a trigger, or sometimes the trigger can cause a down, I can sail along just fine and feel okay, my self-talk can be positive. And then, bam, I trip and fall and struggle to get back up. So, I've always been treated poorly by men. But I actually think that's irrelevant. Because when I walked away from my first husband, I was fine for quite some time. I was never a jealous person, even when I was married. I can't remember ever being jealous prior to this. Then my mom died. I don't remember much about the months following that. But the first thing I do remember was the trigger that changed everything. My now hubby told me to look at pictures of his ex on Facebook. Don't remember why, but I guarantee you it was completely innocent. And no big deal because she was his past and I didn't really care, you know. I'm his person now. His past never felt like a threat. I forgot about feeling that way. I think it's good for me to share this. Then a picture where he commented, "You're beautiful," and another with his sweet pet name for her, which is tattooed on his arm. Now we caused a wound that I never saw coming. I had never been called beautiful by anyone other than my mom up until that point. Or so I thought. We'll get to that. It never crossed my mind. I thought my guy was just not a complimenter. Then it goes on to say about the time he sent her 24 roses every day for a month. Okay, trigger, trigger, trigger. And for the first time in my life, jealousy. Trigger number 1. You're beautiful. In my previous marriage, I was more used to hearing, "I wish you looked more like her." I was happy to just be away from that. But wait a minute. This guy called other people beautiful before me. Wheels start turning and bam. It's because you're not beautiful. That explains why he made sure I knew he dated beautiful women right after I met him. My brain was spinning here, putting this puzzle together in my head. Granted, the pieces were going in all the wrong places, but the story was playing out. He later told me that he did in fact tell me I was beautiful right after my mom died. I do not remember this. He said I told him, "Don't say that, my mama always told me that." I very much believe him. It was probably more that getting such a huge compliment was frightening. I had never heard these things from a man before. So, he said it was the only time he'd ever say it and that I would never hear it again. And my brain puts more pieces to the puzzle together. He wouldn't punish me for grieving my mom, right? Writing this out makes it all seem so ridiculous. Wow. Trigger number 2, flowers. I never deserved flowers. This one I can see clearly. I had always told people I don't like flowers. It kind of made not being worthy of them less painful. He would have spoiled the heck out of me, but in hindsight I was too scared of the attention to accept such things. I guess my first hubby did cause wounds. Or at least he planted seeds. Trigger number 3, tattoos. I, again, was the kind of girl guys don't get tattoos for. So, the guy that wouldn't call me beautiful wanted the world to know that this previous lady was perfect. Ouch. And just like that, I went from being content to being jealous. Excessively so. His fault. No, I absolutely fell apart when I said goodbye to my mom, and he stuck by me through that. He's an absolutely incredible guy, the best I've ever met. He's sweet, supportive, incredibly good looking, fun, great in bed, and he loves me fiercely. But now my heart longs for the stupid beautiful. Or pretty, gorgeous, whatever. I've never had it, never dreamed I could deserve it, and I want to taste it. And now I compare myself to everyone. I had never done that before, not even once. This all hit me so hard I remember the date. It was 6 months to the day after I lost my mom. I know that because I woke up deeply in pain. I was fighting the hurt of missing her hard that day. And then I saw his life before me, and I became less than. And here we are. I'll probably get shredded over this petty, self-centered story. Maybe that's exactly what I need. But I'm going to tell you what, it felt good to spill it all. He's a man of his word and will not waver, ever. I need to find the strength to hear his thoughts in the silence. Because I'll be honest, I do crave compliments. I like them. Maybe they're not important, but that changes nothing. If I say don't, he won't. If he says never, he means never. I've made the bed. Granted, the bed was made in a time of brokenness, and I have to forgive myself for that. I cannot remake it, but I do have to find a comfortable spot to lie down. The tattoo itself doesn't bother me. Hell, he has a portrait of his ex-wife taking up a fair amount of body space, and she's way prettier than I'll ever be. It's simply that if you're going to look me in the eye and say I will never say you're beautiful, I'd rather not have the constant reminder that, well, I guess to be honest, that she was in a place in her life to not fear being told she's special. Dang, I thought it hurt because I didn't deserve it, but no, I think it hurts because in a moment of not being okay I determined a lifetime. Well crap, I never dated this guy. We went from best friends to engaged in the blink of an eye. And why? Well, I've pondered that. And the answer that I think is a truth is that it was never about me. I've always been concerned with him and not myself. We worked together to get him out of debt. I fixed his feet when he said they would always hurt. I learned to cook for him. God did not put me on this planet to take advantage of him. We have been best friends from the moment we met. And him to me. He has always planned to go places or done things simply to make me smile. He thinks of me when he's far away. He had keto brownies sent to me from 2,000 miles away when I was dieting and he was out of state. He doesn't put me down. He's loving and protective and supportive, and yeah, he hates that this stuff is an issue for me. And why wouldn't he? I love him immensely. I would choose a million years of no beautifuls with him over all the beautifuls in the world from anyone else. And I know he'll always show me in a million other ways that I am beautiful and special to him. I'm hung up on silly stuff. I am going to be me again. Feelings may creep up, but I'm going to swallow those suckers, and from now on I'm going to listen carefully for what he is saying. Yes, I'm talking a lot. I'm quite sure he was hurt. I was not an easy girl to live with, especially that first year I was hurting. I'm sure he wanted to make me smile. Never thought of that. Writing just brings it all out. I did tell him I wrote this all out and that it would make me happy if he were to read it. He didn't respond, and I am not pushing the issue. I truly just have to let it go. I cannot get it. That bridge is burned, and I do have to shift my focus to the good things. I can live without it. I have no choice. I choose our marriage over getting my way. I can't make anyone understand anything. I told him I'd like him to read what I wrote. He didn't respond. I have to respect that. He does not want to be around a distressed wife. He actually could have changed that in 5 seconds the moment these feelings invaded my heart, or any time after. That is completely true. One spontaneous, unexpected, beautiful would have healed the hurt. But this is about what I can do, and I can choose to move past it. I want to be married. I want to be happy. I want him to be happy. This is the only part of my life that hurts. I'd say I'm pretty lucky. A year later, we have a 15-year-old, got her first job a few months ago. Loves her job, her coworkers, her boss. Works every chance she gets. Talks about her job nonstop when she's home. Hangs with her coworkers a decent amount outside of work. We had plans to go away for her 16th birthday, but she has requested to stay home. She wants to be at her favorite place, work on her special day. Hubby wants to go ahead with our plans and spend her birthday without her. I have a thing about seeing my kids on their birthday and letting them choose what to do on their day. I see his point, but I also feel the way I feel. Birthdays are important to me. Curious how others would handle this situation, different perspectives. Hubby wants me to edit this to add it's not just a little trip to the park. We were going to Niagara Falls. She wants to stay home and go to work. I don't think it's that she doesn't plan on spending time with us. I think it's as simple as she wants to go to work. She'd be with us before and after. Hubby feels that she chose work over family. I think she's choosing work over a trip. Hubby took the week off of work. We would lose no money other than her passport. I guess you could look at it like we'd save a bunch of money. My comment: she is just trying to show her independence, like all teenagers do. I would see if you can come up with a happy middle ground. Let her work, then go out for a birthday meal afterwards. Let her start to build some self-confidence, or else she will repeat what you were like.